Greetings everyone, we are the third group and today we will be discussing and we will be helping you to be enlightened about the Philippine literature during the post-EDSA period. So just to give you a brief background about the post-EDSA period or its history, so in February of 1986, a significant event in the Philippines called the People Power Revolution took place over 4 days from the 21st to the 25th. So it was a peaceful protest that successfully ended the dictatorship of President Ferdinand Marcos. So this revolution, also known as Lakas ng Bayan, became famous around the world because it was a bloodless revolution, meaning to say there was no violence at all. So this moment, it marked the beginning of a new chapter in Philippine history, which also influenced the country's literature. Before this, during the time of martial law, writers often created stories, poems, and essays that were angry and bold, like they were trying to fight against injustice during the time. So many were even written secretly or carefully because speaking against the government at that time could be dangerous. It could cost your own life. So when the revolution happened and the dictatorship ended, writers felt more free and open to explore new ideas and express their thoughts creatively. Now that we are done with the historical background of post-EDSA period, we will now be diving deeper into the characteristics of post-EDSA literature, starting with the first characteristic, which says the academe developed a critical approach influenced by contemporary literary theories from England and the United States, meaning to say it introduces new ways of analyzing literature. So after the revolution, schools and universities started using new methods to study and understand literature. So these methods, they were influenced by the ideas from literary critics in places like England and the United States. So this change, it meant that people can explore different ways of interpreting stories and poems, making the study of literature more creative. Next characteristic, we have publishers became more willing to invest in experimental and non-traditional literary projects. So it's basically about experimenting with new styles. So publishers or companies that print books and stories that time, they began to support writers who wanted to try fresh and unique ways of telling stories. Writers no longer had to stick to traditional formats or styles, and they could experiment with new ideas and techniques. And for the third characteristic, the dominance of new criticism with its strict aesthetic standards waned. This decline allowed for more diverse and flexible methods of evaluating literary works. So it's basically about there had been less focus on strict rules. So before this period, new criticism, which is a literary theory or a way of judging literature by following strict standards, it was very popular before post-EDSA. So new criticism, it heavily focused on the form and style of writing, but it started to fade after the revolution. Now, writers had more freedom to express themselves, and other critics became more flexible in how they analyzed works of literature. And last but not the least, we have there was a renewed emphasis on recovering and promoting literature written in Philippine languages other than Tagalog, supporting a more inclusive literary heritage. So basically, the fourth and last characteristics, it celebrates local languages and culture. So there was a stronger push to like highlight and celebrate literature that was written in various Philippine languages, not just Tagalog. So it promotes inclusivity of the different Philippine languages. So next, writers and scholars, they started to like value and promote works that were written in regional languages. Like for example, we have Cebuano, Ilocano, Hiligaynon, and so on, which aims to preserve and share the rich diversity of Filipino culture. And so that will be all for the characteristics of Philippine literature during the post EDSA period. And now we will be moving on to the famous works during this literary period.
We highlight the remarkable life and work of Lilia Quindoza Santiago. Lilia Quindoza Santiago was a renowned Filipino writer, poet, feminist, and academic recognized for her contributions to Filipino literature and advocacy for the Filipino language. Lilia Quindoza Santiago served as a professor at UP Departamento ng Filipino at Panitikan ng Pilipinas and was a fellow at the UP Institute of Creative Writing. Let's now move on to her career highlights. Santiago taught for over 30 years at UP and later at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. She earned the title Makata ng Taon from the Commission sa Wikang Filipino. Santiago's influential works include Kagampan, Asintada, and Ang Manggagamot ng Salay-Salay, which reflects her deep commitment to Filipino culture and social issues. Lilia Quindoza Santiago's legacy continues to inspire both in Philippine literature and in her advocacy for the Filipino language.
Jose Dalisay Jr., also known as Butch Dalisay, born on January 15, 1954, is a distinguished Filipino writer, novelist, and academic. He is known for his contribution to contemporary Philippine literature, particularly in the genres of fiction, short stories, and essays. Dalisay earned his bachelor's degree in English from the University of the Philippines, also known as UP, and went on to pursue his graduate studies in the United States. He is the author of several critically acclaimed novels and short story collections, including Soledad's Sister, Penmanship, The Kite, Bakit Ngayon Ka Lang, and Tayong Dalawa. Dalisay's writing has earned numerous awards, including the prestigious Palanca Awards, which he has won multiple times. In addition to his literary achievements, he has been a professor at the University of the Philippines, where he has influenced new generation of writers. Ricardo Lee, popularly known as Ricky Lee, is a renowned Filipino screenwriter, playwright, and director. Born on November 14, 1948 in the Philippines. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in the Filipino cinema. Over his career, Lee has written screenplays for numerous award-winning films including Himala, Maynila, Sa Mga Kuko ng Liwanag, at Ang Pagdapo ng Salaginto. In addition to his work in film, Ricky Lee has written plays and television scripts and has been an influential mentor for aspiring filmmakers and writers. He is also a prominent figure in Filipino literature and education, having authored books on screenwriting that have been essential reading for students and professionals in the field of screenwriting and playwright.
Danton Remoroto. So for his education, he studied at the University of Stirling, he is a British Council scholar there, and attended Rutgers University, he is a Fulbright scholar, and he also completed studies at Ateneo de Manila University, he is a Association of Southeast Nation scholar there. And lastly, he's also studied at the University of the Philippines. Now, next one is for his career. He served as a publishing director at Ateneo. He also worked as a head of communications at the United Nations Development Program. He also hosted TV and radio programs at TV5 and Radio 5. And he also was a president at the Manila Times College, and he also led the University of Nottingham in Malaysia as head of the school. Now, next one is for his writing accomplishments. So he is a author for 13 books in English. That includes, firstly is River Run, which is a novel, and second one is The Heart of Summer, which is a selected stories and tales. Now, aside from that, he also translated the 1906 novel, which is titled Banaag at Sikat by Loeb K. Santos into English, titled Rajas and Sunrise. Now, for the Southeast Asian Literary Classic Series, his work is recognized in several prestigious publications such as Oxford Research Encyclopedia of Literature, and the second one is Princeton Encyclopedia of Poetry and Poetics. Now, for the third one, or for the last one, is the Routledge Encyclopedia of Postcolonial Literature. Now, next one is for his fellowships. He participated in the Cambridge University Summer Seminar on Literature. He also attended the Breadth Writers Conference. Recently was a fellow at the MacDowell Arts Residency in New Hampshire, USA. Now, for his current projects, he is currently writing his third novel and a new collection of essays and poems. He also currently residing or lives between Southeast Asia and Los Angeles. And for his notable books, we have is The Heart of Summer, which is it is about the stories and tales, and lastly is titled River Run, which is a novel. So that's all for my part.
Following the list is Marjorie Evasco. Now, starting with her background, she is a Filipina poet born in September 21 in Bohol, Philippines. She is known for her writing being in both English and Cebuano Visayan, and is regarded as one of the earliest Filipina feminist poets, which just means is that she is a poet that supports and empowers women through her works. Okay, so she is also a recipient of numerous awards. Among them is the C. Wright Award. What is the C. Wright Award? Well, it is the Southeast Asian Writers Award, which, from what I researched, it is a award that is presented annually since the 1979 to poets and writers in Southeast Asia. And from what I researched, for a author or writer to receive such an award is a lifetime achievement. Okay? So, from what we see in her background, we know that she is a very honorable, impactful woman who supports and empower the Filipina people during her time period. Okay? So, let's take a look at her contributions to the literary period, which is the post-EDSA literary period. Okay, starting with the first one is that her poetry explores themes like social oppression and women roles, which aligns on the period's focus on political and social change. Her works like Caravan of the Water Bearers and Regla sa Buwan ng Hunyo emphasizes the feminist perspective, reflecting on the flourishing feminist sentiments during the literature during this time. Okay, so means that it explored the themes of hope, struggles, and aspirations of the Filipino. She also engages in the regional languages and diverse literary styles, which also helps in showcasing the minorities of the Philippine literature during the post-EDSA period. Okay, she is also one of the founding voices in promoting women writers, being one of the first or earliest feminist poets. She is among of the founding voices that fostered a supportive community for the emerging voices of the women in the literary landscape. So, from what we see here is that Marjorie made significant contributions to the Philippine literature by exploring the themes of social justice and women empowerment. Okay? Her work reflects the feminist spirits of the post-EDSA era, giving voices and hopes to the struggles of the Filipino women during this time. And by experimenting the regional languages and styles of the Philippines, she also pushed through the boundaries of Philippine literature and also promoted the minorities during this time, which inspired new generation of writers. Additionally, being one of the founding voices of the feminist writing, she also became the pillars or one of the reason the of the fostering of the supportive community that empowers the emerging voices of women at that time.